the question put to Baker Mayfield was, what does Odell Beckham Jr., who wasn't there for the second half of last year, what does he bring to this offense now that he's potentially back?
Yeah, obviously his catching ability speaks for itself, but I think people forget how truly fast he is. To be able to take the top off of defenses, and safeties have to worry about that. And so teams are going to have to defend it and pick their poison, because we're a physical run-first mentality team, and that's not going to change no matter who we have out there at receiver, but he adds an element to where teams are going to have to decide. For me, it's just going through my reads. We're going to call the shots, and Kevin's going to get those dialed up when he feels comfortable in doing so. And for me, it's just going through the reads, not forcing anything. And much like the mentality I had second half of last year, just find the open guy and go through my reads, trust the system, and go through my progressions every play.
And Doug, I think Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. would have made a huge difference if he was on the field against the Chiefs. Tyrann Mathieu was not worried about anybody getting behind him that entire game, and that's the reason that Nick Chubb had some issues running the football.
100% right. I don't know that you can beat the Chiefs without some kind of threat like that at receiver. And I do think sometimes, again, I think we're falling into something a little bit maybe, because on our Orange and Brown Talk podcast that we put out, I think today, we were making declarations. And one of mine was that Odell will average 80 receiving yards per game, which a year ago would have ranked him 10th in the league. And in a 17-game season, that's over 1,300 yards. And I think you can fall into a trap of like, well, Baker's just going to take the open guy. This isn't an offense that does that. They're going to spread it around. They have a lot of guys. And I think that's true. And I think a year ago, the Browns found some things that opened up in the second half every now and then with deep shots because teams didn't respect it because Odell wasn't on the field. So I think that led to sometimes Donovan Peoples-Jones getting some shots down the field, in part because nobody was worried about it. But here's my point. Everybody knows Tyreek Hill is good. The Chiefs have other good players. And you know what Tyreek Hill does all the time? He scorches defenses. Because the Chiefs, no matter how much defense is planned for it, find a way to get Tyreek Hill involved. Why? Because he's their fastest, most explosive guy. So why can't that be the Browns? Now, I know they're going to run it. And I know the Chiefs don't have a run game like the Browns do. But the idea that they're going to just treat Odell like one other guy, well, we got to spread it around. Or that, well, defense are going to try to take that away. Try to take Tyreek Hill away. Guess what? It doesn't matter. He still burns you. That's what I think. I'm not saying Odell at this point in his career is Tyreek Hill, but man, he's the closest thing the Browns are probably ever going to have in this era. So why wouldn't you put a focus on getting that guy the ball? And why would you think that guy would somehow inhibit your offense or like take Baker out of his game? I think he has a big year ahead. And I think Kevin Stefanski knows what Odell Beckham Jr. is, and they will get him the ball within the plan, but realizing he's their most dangerous receiver, and why wouldn't you focus on that guy?